I always feel like I have to announce I'm hitting record. So you'll know that it's forever proof
So
of
I
what you're
don't yell
saying.
something stupid.
Right. Okay, so how was the essay? Be honest, I'm curious.
They're easy.
They were hard.
Easy.
Okay, so I'm
Oh.
hearing easy, I'm hearing all right. How long did it take you to write those essays? Was it 25 minutes each, or did it take you longer, shorter? What about your time?
30
Second one
minutes or
took
so.
longer.
Okay, you said 30 minutes for both, Parker. What'd you say, Brenner?
The second one took longer for me. I mean, yes, I had to define more, but the first one took maybe 20 minutes.
Okay, I want to hear from everybody. How long did that take? Like, it's okay, no shame, I promise. I'm just curious.
The first one took me a long time. The second one was easy.
Okay, so kind of the opposite of Brenner. Okay, what else?
Second one took longer.
Did y'all feel like when you read the question that you recognized those words and you could fairly quickly answer that question, or did you have to really do some research and think about it and plan it out?
That was me.
Okay, so raise your hand if you felt really confident about all the questions and
I had to
the words.
Google the word.
Except the cohort of that term. I didn't remember that.
Y'all had a hard time on that. I think I gave one person. I realized after the fact that I have to score these. So that's really time consuming and fun. So it took me a minute to read all of these, and I'm gonna pull somebody's up who is brave and wants us to look at theirs, just so we can talk about each of the points and how you either got credit or didn't get credit. This should not take the whole hour. This shouldn't take very long at all, but I want you to see if you got full credit, why you got full credit. Some of y'all were so close. And when I mean so close, like you missed a single word. Like, hang on a second. My dogs are, y'all, get a hold of it. The puppy is wide open. That puppy is wide open, y'all. I mean, like, he is a monster sometimes. Some of y'all like missed a single word. So for example, with random sampling, you didn't say that everyone has an equal opportunity to participate. And I know that that feels very nitpicky, but that is how the AP scorers are going to be. That you said people participated or something like that, or you said it in a way that it was not 100% clear that everybody had an equal chance to participate. So who is willing to let me pull theirs up? Anybody care?
Tear me apart on the cross.
What, Parker?
You can do it to me. I'm on the cross. I'll be the martyr.
Okay, all right. Parker's in. Okay, let me share my screen. We're going to go through these.
I know mine weren't very coherent. That's my only scared part.
No, actually, I think yours are pretty good, Parker. Hang on. Let me, I feel like I realized just a little while ago that I scored yours. I scored everybody's but Holland's and Vashaka's because I just didn't get a chance to get to y'all's. But I realized that you couldn't see the scores until I fixed it. So now that I have fixed it, you should be able to see your actual score on this exam. And what did I tell you last time? Do not freak out if you didn't get full credit. If you got 0 credit on an essay, just don't freak out. It is probably because you went right up into the line but didn't explain it just a little bit more, or you missed some key phrasing that would just push it just a little bit over the edge. And so I felt really good after reading these that you guys are in pretty good shape, actually. And if you just tweak it a little bit, which was my hope, then these will be very effective. And so very effective practices. All right, so here, can y'all see what I'm looking at, Parker's essay? Can y'all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so when I scroll down, there are several different points. Can y'all hear me over my dogs?
Yes.
Okay, God, they're making me crazy.
Is 5 out of 8 bad, or is it decent?
That's pretty decent. I would say you probably got a 3 if you got 5 out of 8. I can't promise that, Parker, because it's very much going to, for example, if the whole entire country that takes AP Psych, the exam, struggles with 1 point, then the AP Psych folks are going to say, or the AP scorers are going to say, maybe that's not a valid question to have asked. And so maybe we're actually only scoring out of 7 points instead of 8. Does everybody understand what I'm saying? So I think there's a goal to get a certain amount of points on each essay, but then they also go back, kind of like what I do with the test. If the question isn't fair, and nobody got it right, or most people didn't get it right, then maybe that's not really the best indication of the exam. So the hope is it's out of a certain number of points, but that might change. So the first, I'm not going to read the whole question again because that's going to be time consuming, but the first section is all about evaluating appropriateness, okay? And so you could have said something like, and this is for question number 1. So this is a question about, this university is trying to attract new students to their university. They're trying to see, they're trying to say, the longer you're here, the more happy you are. But that's not really the conclusion that could be drawn here. So you should have said something like, and notice this isn't a huge paragraph, it's a very short, 2 or 3 sentences. The university officials' conclusions are not warranted. This is a correlational study. Unhappy students could have left the university, other things, and I think, Parker, you said this in your essay, just by being there a little bit longer and kind of getting used to college, just by growing older, could affect our happiness. So there's lots of other factors that could have impacted whether or not somebody is happy. Correlational studies are trying to draw a relationship. There were a couple questions where people used the word cause instead of correlation, and I got some gray hairs from that, because don't forget, correlation is not causation. When you see the word correlation, you should think there's a relationship. There's a connection of some kind, but one thing does not automatically cause the other thing, okay? So you would get a point for that or not get a point for that. So you had to be very clear that the university's conclusions are not valid, they're not warranted. The second part is explaining random assignment, and I want to be sure that I re-explain this because a lot of you struggled with this. Random sampling is a survey. Trey, I don't know why I can't see your face. Random sampling is a survey. So don't forget, a survey
I'm doing something right now. I don't want to distract them.
Okay, well, if you're not in class listening, then you're not participating, okay?
I'm listening. I'm just doing something. I don't want to be distracted.
I can't give you credit for being here if you're not here. I hate to be ugly. I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to call you out. I promise I'm not. Like I was saying, random sampling is a survey. So I always remember S and S, connect those 2 things together, okay? So if you send a survey out, it's an email, it's asking them questions. Random assignment is an experiment. This is not an experiment. There's no control group. There's no, what is the other group? Experimental group. There's no independent variable. There's no dependent variable. This is just a straight survey. And so a lot of you lost points because you said they did random sampling because you had an equal opportunity to participate, but you then said they also used random assignment by randomly assigning you to the survey or not the survey. That's not accurate. So you needed to explain random assignment is not relevant to this question because random assignment is used for experiments, not for surveys. There's no experimental group, there's no control group. And you could say it just like that, very short, 2 sentences. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes? I can't really see your faces. Okay, good. All right. So, like I said, sampling we already talked about. And it's so important that you understand that random sample means that everyone has an equal opportunity and that it is a representation of the entire student body. Some of y'all said, by only surveying 25%, that's a very small sample size. Is that enough to really give us a good idea of what's going on here? And that was a great point, but I couldn't give you full credit for that because you didn't use that equal opportunity to participate. And that's how the AP folks are going to be as well. And then the last thing, all you really needed to say was, the university officials reported the mean or the average, which is a measure of central tendency. That's it. That's all you had to say. And so super straightforward. This could be a fairly short essay in the grand scheme of things.
If I use mode, does that take points away?
It doesn't take points away, but it doesn't give you credit. Sometimes y'all added stuff in there, and I encouraged you to do that, don't get me wrong, but please, my advice to you is don't add stuff in unless you have been 100% sure that you have addressed these specific items that the question is asking you for. So
I did. I'm just wondering about mode.
Okay. Yeah. No. And a lot of you did that. A lot of you said, some of the measures of central tendency are mode, median, and mean. In this case, the surveyors used mean and explained that that was the average of those scores, and that's fine. That's all you, but what I'm saying is all you really needed to say was they used a measure of central tendency, which is mean, okay? So don't forget, when you look at that question, so if y'all look at the question I have pulled up again, you have several different points, and the points that I assign to you, the points that the AP folks will assign to you are directly from that question. So question A, is it appropriate? Is their conclusion appropriate? That's your first point. It is not. Question B, explain how the elements are related to the survey. Assignment, sampling, and central tendency. Your 4 points, dogs, stop. Your 4 points that you got for this question or didn't get were directly from that question, directly from those specific aspects of the question. Y'all, any questions about question number 1, like the essay number 1? Does that clear things up a little bit more? Do you understand why I gave you credit or didn't give you credit? Yes? Y'all can unmute if you need to. Okay, all right. So question number 2, this is the question about the anxiety and the GPA, so your academic performance as it relates to your anxiety level, but also as it relates to your sleep, okay? So part A was asking, y'all are driving me crazy. Anxiety and academic performance, hours sleeping per night and academic performance, and then those 2 pieces, the operational definition and the cohort effect. Your 4 points, I think it might be 5 for this one. Actually, it's 4. Your 4 points for this is directly from that question. So is there a relationship here? A lot of you got credit here because you said something along the lines of, there's a relationship, a negative relationship between academic performance and anxiety. A lot of you guys did a wonderful job of explaining that negative correlation, that negative relationship. As anxiety goes up, academic performance goes down. Some of you explain that inaccurately. Don't forget, a negative relationship means one goes up, one goes down. A positive relationship means both things go up, okay? And so all you really had to say is, like I said, that negative relationship or negative correlation. You could also simply say something like, students who have higher anxiety have worse academic performance. You are explaining the relationship. Notice that, I don't know if you can still see my screen. Notice that it says, do not score if it says something like, there's just a correlation between academic performance and anxiety. That actually, all you're saying there is there's a connection. What kind of connection? Explain the connection, okay? And notice that it says you're not allowed to give them a score if they have words like cause, influences, effects, all right? Unless they can really explain that causation is not correlation, all that good stuff, okay? And if you said they have a positive relationship, I couldn't give you credit there. So part 2, hours of sleep. Some of you got confused about this, and if you did, I would encourage you to go back and read the question, all right? You got a point if you said, in a nutshell, the data provided shows that there's no relationship between hours slept per night and GPA. The correlation coefficient there was 0, and what we know is that when there's 0, that means that there's no relationship, there's no connection whatsoever, okay? For the operational definition, a lot of people struggle with this for some reason. You could say either of these 2 things, that Dr. Aguilera used summed answers or, added up answers to the anxiety questions to create an operational definition of anxiety. Some of you said that, but you also want to make sure that you explain both aspects of this study. It's not just the anxiety, it's also the GPA. So like I said, some of y'all were so close and I really wanted to give you credit, but I wanted to make sure that you understood that you can't just be so close. This is you get credit or you don't get credit. It's not like you can get, 0.75 or 0.5 from the AP folks. So you want to make sure that you explain both aspects, that it's the anxiety piece. And a lot of you did that one, but you didn't do the GPA. Don't forget that operational definition is being as specific as you can so that we can replicate or repeat the experiment, okay? And then the last part, I think just about everybody, maybe one person got credit for cohort. You all did a really good job of defining cohort. Like I could tell if you didn't know what that was, you definitely Googled it, and that's fine, or you looked in your book. The cohort effect is all about the group of people that you're coming up with, or the group of people that you are testing with. And so a lot of you did a good job of explaining that, you know, the time of year, the people that you're around, all of these things, the age at which you take the test, all of those things could impact the results. Y'all? However, the key part of the cohort effect that you guys missed, and why a lot of you, almost all of you, missed credit, you explained the cohort effect, but you needed to take it one step further and say, in order to have more valid responses or valid results, the doctor needs to understand that they would need to retest with a different group of people or a different cohort to see if they get the same kinds of results. So some of you went so close, some of you went so far as to say, be careful about the results here because this is just one group of people. Take it one step further and say, to have more valid results that are more credible, reasonable, reliable, all of those things, and to avoid the cohort effect error, the doctor needed to repeat the study with a different group of folks, okay? Excuse me. That's it. Does anybody have any questions about why you got credit or why you didn't get credit? Or anything that I explained?
I thought I said like they had to test more people in the university because like didn't they only test like 25%, or did I put it in like a different part of the essay?
You did, but what you said, Radhika, and you were one that I really struggle with because I think, I'm not picking on you, but I think I gave you no points on that one essay, and I really felt bad about that. But that was one where I was like, oh, I can't give you credit because you did. Radhika said something like, this is not a valid survey because they only tested 25%, something like that, or valid study. I can't remember how you worded it.
Probably.
But again, you can't just say that's not enough people. You need to take, you are trying to explain these things as if this person has never heard about psychology. They don't know any of these definitions. You need to take it one step further and say, because they only tested 25%, that is such a small sample size that could be impacted by blah, 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 blah. In order to have a better, more valid study, they would need to retest with a different group of people. That's really the most important thing, guys, with that cohort effect. It's not just that these other factors could impact the results. It's that to avoid the error of cohort effect, or to avoid the bias of cohort effect, that your results are a little bit skewed because this is a specific group of people. You want to retest with different groups of people over time to be sure that you're getting similar results. Does that make sense, Radhika? You were so close, girl. Like if you look back over your essay, I really struggled with it. I almost texted you, like, don't freak out. A lot of you were really close. I think if you go back and read it and you look at what it should have said, you will see that. So I actually was really happy after I got done reading these essays, even if you got 0 points, guys. And it wasn't just Radhika, a couple of you did on a couple of the essays. It's fine, I promise. You know, I'm not gonna lie. You're so close. And when you do the next one, I want you to, again, really be thinking about what it is that you're saying and try to take it that one step further and make sure that you are answering the question and that you're understanding what it is that they're asking you to explain. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Did this make you feel better, the same, or worse about your AP exam?
A little bit worse.
Don't feel better. Stop. Who said better?
Me or Jeremy.
Alvarez. Okay.
It's Jeremy.
Okay. Raise your hand if you feel better. I want to informal poll this. Vishaka, I can't see you. Okay. So y'all feel better. Who feels the same? Like it didn't change their opinion either way. Who feels worse? Do you all feel worse? Listen to me, and I mean this sincerely. Y'all know I'm a terrible liar. I feel better. As your teacher, I feel better. I was harsh on purpose so that y'all understand that you need to go a little bit I don't want you to get too much of a false sense of confidence here and then just kind of be like, I got this, there's no point in studying. I really do want you to study, and I want you to understand that they will be tough on you on these exams. You've got to make sure that you fully explain everything. Don't do 75%, explain the whole entire thing. So keep that in mind when you look at the next one. The next one, this shouldn't take you very long, right? Like most of you said at most an hour to do the whole entire thing. Is that what I'm hearing? Some of y'all said even 30 minutes to do both. That's not much. The next one's going to be due by 11 o'clock on Friday. And then as a class, we will discuss what we want to do. If we want to pause and keep studying, but maybe do the music project, or if we want to keep doing the essays because you feel like they actually really are helping, we still have time to do more essays, even that following week. But I want to do whatever y'all want to do, however I can help you. Because this is not how we normally study. Like I'm having to learn a little bit with you. First of all, we're not face-to-face. Second of all, most of our studying is done with practice tests, like practice multiple choice tests, not essays. So I appreciate your flexibility in like totally taking a left turn here. Everybody good?
Yep.
I know these are not the most exciting things. I know essays are not super fun, but they're really, really, really important. And I want you all to get college credit. That's the point here. And I think you can. I really do. I think every single person in this room could get college credit here. And like, y'all make me look really good. I'm just saying.
Or it'd be like that movie about the calculus teacher and the AP calculus teacher, and all of his students got like high scores. And then the college board was like, nope, psych, you get those revoked.
Oh, they better not. I'm gonna come for them. There, you know, I'm in this AP teacher cohort group, and there are lots of people who are just completely freaking out because they have not seen their teacher or heard from their teacher since March 13th. So I hope that y'all feel good about the fact that we have continued to work really hard. Y'all have worked so hard. You're kicking butt, and I'm really proud of you. And like I said, I know these essays are boring and stupid. Like I'm not even gonna pretend like they're not, but they're important. And so do your best, and I'll score them again. Get them to me by 11 so they count for full credit, and I'll score them. And if you go back in, I was telling folks, I know some people came in late. I was telling folks that were here, if you, I was confused about the settings for the questions, and I was scoring them even yesterday, but you couldn't see the scores because I had to push a button basically. So I pushed that button. Now you should be able to log in under your AP Classroom and see the scores and what you got and what you didn't. Read back over your answers. It's kind of like going back over our tests. It's stupid to take a test and never go back over it, right? That's crazy. Yes, Parker.
So are you grading these? Like, are they going to go in as a grade?
50. Everybody got a 50 if you turned it in on time.
All right, tight.
Yeah, no, I said that last time. I'm not grading these for accuracy. Like, don't half-ass it. Sorry, cussing, but don't like just put some words down to get 50 points. I'm sorry, Holland. Don't just put some stuff down to get points. That will annoy me. And if I think you've done that, we're gonna have a conversation. But I feel like everybody really tried, and therefore I'm just gonna give you 100% because you tried. The point of this is not as much about the accuracy. It's about the process, right? Remember when we did that chapter on outcome versus process simulation? You don't picture yourself crossing the finish line. You picture every little aspect of the test as you go so that you feel comfortable throughout the entire race, the entire test. The more we do this, by the time y'all sit down to do this on test day on the 19th, you'll have done it so many times that you're just gonna be like, whatever, here we go, let's do this. And you're gonna feel really good and really confident going into that. And what we know about self-fulfilling prophecies is if you believe you're gonna get a 3 or a 4 or a 5, that's more likely to happen. If you go in there like, I'm never gonna pass this, that might happen. So you've
Three's all you
gotta,
need now. That's my motto.
that's
Three
right. 3 is all you need for any NC system schools. Now, some private schools you need a higher score, but most
Who's gonna
places
go to
it's just a
Duke?
3.
Duke's
Who's
cute.
going to Duke? Boo. All right, that's all I got, friends. It's 11:27. I'm gonna set you free early again. Don't make me regret doing that. Y'all go work on your essays, and for the love of Pete, be studying every day for a few minutes. Your study guide, your Jeopardies, so that you feel like as soon as you read that question, you're like, oh, I know those words. Here we go. Okay? Yep. Yes?
Yes.
All
Yes.
right. All right. Be good. Go study. Get your stuff done. Essays due at 11. On Friday, we'll meet again. We'll do the exact same thing, and then we'll figure out what to do from there. Okay? All right. Bye.